Hey everyone, glad to see you again. A big plant to store energy is now up and running in Monterey Bay. Ariana Jaza says that PG&E and Tesla worked together on this project. It became possible. In Moss Landing, there are now two places to store energy. Because of this, Monterey Bay is now a world hub for storing energy in batteries. The Tesla Megapack battery system from PG&E is now live, the company said on Monday, is one of the biggest lithium-ion battery storage systems owned by a power company in the world. This way is meant to help add clean energy sources to the power grid, such as solar power, so that it can be used when demand goes up. The system stores energy that comes from clean sources. The first goal is to do this. Tesla's Megapack business, which saves a lot of battery power, grew by more than twice as much in 2023. New locations are opening in Lathrop, California, and Shanghai. Lots of people think the company will keep growing over the next few years. This makes me wonder how big Tesla's Megapack business could get and when it might hit its peak. Let's look at how the use of battery energy storage might change from now until 2050. We'll also look at how big the market might be at each stage and how much of that market Tesla might have. But first, please like this video and don't forget to subscribe to Tesla Stock News. So let's start the movie. After their investor day, Tesla put out a white paper called Sustainable Energy for All of Earth. They said some things like that the US would need about 6.5 terawatt-hours (TWh) of lithium-ion storage for 8 hours in order to switch to green energy. Also, this guess only gives us a rough idea of how much power we might need. It doesn't give us any exact times or chances. 8-hour lithium-ion storage seems to use 8 hours as a measure of how much energy is stored and moved around. This is the same as 8.115 GW of power, which is 6.5 TWh of energy. On the other hand, this great for duration doesn't always match up with what most grid storage batteries should have. To learn more about the plan and storage times, let's look at what the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, NREL, says will happen. For green energy in the U.S., NREL thinks that grid storage will be put in place in 4 steps until 2050. As these steps go on, storage times will probably get longer. This is because the energy grid needs more grid storage as it relies more on intermittent sources like wind and sun, which need big reserves to deal with sudden changes in demand or supply. For grid safety, longer storage times are good, but they can cost a lot. It takes longer for them to charge and discharge, so they don't make as much money. Plus, they have ongoing costs like property taxes, repairs, and funding. We expect the cost of holding energy to go down as economies of scale and technology get better, even with these issues. Finally, storage projects that last longer will be able to be used. NREL's specific stages give more details than Tesla's more general estimate, but they don't say what technologies will be used or when the stages will start. They also use gigawatts, GW of power instead of gigawatt hours, GW of energy to measure capacity. A major grid service has been given to each step to help you figure out what it will be used for. Works on running reserves, such as frequency regulation, to keep the grid stable. Plans to replace gas-fired peaker plants with plants that can handle more power. Time shifting will be used in Phase 3 to spread out the work over 24 hours. This process, called renewables firming, will deal with the deeper reserves that are needed to switch to renewable energy sources. It is likely that as prices go down, storage options with longer terms will become more common when it comes to deployment times. Along with the plan, it's important to know how much each kilowatt-hour costs. The average price for a 4-hour battery capacity hit $120 per kilowatt-hour in 2020. This was a big change. This number doesn't include the full cost of installation. However, 8-hour and 12-hour storage choices will likely become more cost-effective when cell prices drop to $60 and $40 per kilowatt-hour, respectively, because there will be fewer ways to make money during those times. This isn't the case for storage less than an hour, though, where prices are often based on power capacity instead of energy capacity. It meant that the cost of a cell had to reach $480 per kilowatt-hour for Phase 1's backup power. From 2013 to 2015, this was done. It is expected that next year, The cost of lithium iron phosphate (LFP) battery cells in China will drop to $60 per 5 kilowatt hours. This will be the start of Phase 3. By 2030, prices should drop below $40 per kilowatt hour. This could begin Phase 4. It's still not clear, though, if lithium-ion batteries will be able to reach this goal. NA+ cells, on the other hand, might be able to meet this need. Analyses says that by 2050, most of the 12-hour storage will come from pumped hydro facilities that are already in place. After 2020, the number of these facilities will not double, but I think that by 2040, ion-based battery options will be the most popular way to store power for 12 hours. This is because they will be much cheaper, which will help the market grow. It is expected that Phase 1 will need 64 GW of power, Phases 2 and 3 will need 320 GW, and Phase 4 will need 106 GW. These numbers were chosen because it is thought that battery costs will go down over time. This will make the switch to green energy happen faster. When you increase these skills by how long they last, you get 5.18 TWh for Phase 1, 64 GW for Phase 2, 1.28 TWh for Phase 3, and 2.56 TWh for Phase 4. To make these numbers meet Tesla's guess of 6.5 TWh for the US, the numbers for energy storage are changed to match their 8-hour standards. For example, a battery that can be fully charged in 4 hours goes twice as fast as one that can be fully charged in 8 hours. This means that the 4-hour battery can hold twice as much energy. With this line of thought, the 5.18 TWh turns into about 6.472 TWh, which is very close to what Tesla said would happen. It looks at how long cells are likely to last after being kept for different lengths of time to figure out how long batteries will last. The service might last for 10 to 30 years, based on how long you keep something. You can mostly guess these numbers from things like Tesla's 20-year promise for their megapacks. This is because the way a battery is used and the number of cycles it goes through are not the only things that affect its life. To find out how much energy is needed each year to keep this setup going, we divide the total amount of energy by how long we think the batteries will last. We need 6.4 GW for Phase 1, 64 GW for Phase 2, 102 GW for Phase 3, and 43 GW for Phase 4, just in the US. The National Renewable Energy Laboratory, NRL, says that most of the energy stored for 12 hours will come from current pumped hydro plants by 2050. They don't think this number will go up after 2020, but thanks to big price drops, ion-based battery technologies are likely to be the market leaders in 12-hour storage by 2040. 64 GW are set aside for Phase 1, 320 GW are set aside for Phases 2 and 3, and 106 GW are set aside for Phase 4. It is thought that the price of batteries will keep going down, which will make the switch to green energy happen faster. The longer these things are used, the more power they can hold. For Phase 1, we have 5.18 TWh for Phase 2, 1.28 TWh for Phase 3, and 2.56 TWh for Phase 4. To make these amounts match Tesla's projected 6.5 TWh need for the US, they are changed into 8-hour units. Batteries that are set to die after 4 hours can run twice as fast as batteries that are set to die after 8 hours. This means that they can make twice as much energy. Because of this change, the total is now about 6.472 TWh, which is very close to what Tesla said would happen. Another thing that is looked at is how long these batteries are expected to last. They last 10 years if you store them for 1 hour and 30 years if you store them for 12 hours. This is just a guess because Tesla backs their megapacks with a guarantee that lasts up to 20 years. The numbers take into account more than just cycle life. They think about things like how the packs are affected by bad weather and very high temperatures. To find out how much energy this equipment needs every year, divide the total amount of energy by how long the batteries are expected to last. This means that the US needs 6.4 GW for Phase 1, 64 GW for Phase 2, 102 GW for Phase 3, and 43 GW for Phase 4 every year. If we look at this model on a global scale, We see that Tesla says the world will need 46.2 TO of lithium-ion batteries.